everyone, and welcome to this week's devotions. We're going to be speaking on the topic, the body of faith, and how we can apply these truths to our lives to live as faith-filled believers. Today, I'm going to be starting off by sharing on the eyes of faith and what it means to see with the eyes of faith, and how do we see with the eyes of faith. And so, I firstly believe that as believers, we need to understand our spiritual makeup. And that means we understand spirit, soul, and body. And so we have a body. This is our physical world, our natural world. Some may refer to this as our flesh, and that's what we can taste, we can see, we can feel. That makes up our body. And then we have our soul, which is made up of our will, our emotions, our feelings, our thoughts, and some may even describe that as our personality. But I believe the most important part of our spiritual makeup is our spirit man. And that is wall to wall Jesus Christ. So when I say that we are seeing, or we have eyes of faith, this means seeing with the eyes of our heart. And I believe that that is the beautiful combination of turning our thoughts, our imagination, our wildest dreams, and connecting that to our spirit man, seeing from our spirit. And if we are solely living by what we see with our physical eyes, I believe we'll live a very unsatisfied life. We see what happens on the news, we see what's happening around the world, sometimes even what's happening in our circumstances. And if we live solely on that, I believe that we'll be very disappointed. So we need to be aware of our spirit man and who lives inside of us, and choose to rather see life from that perspective. In Romans 8 verse 9 it says, "But you are not in the flesh, but in the Spirit, if indeed the Spirit of God dwells in you." And in Colossians 3 verse 2, we're encouraged here. It says, "Set your mind on things above, not on things of the earth." This is saying we need to see life from a spiritual perspective, that we need to be grounded and rooted in the Spirit of God within us. And we see this play out in the story of Abram in Genesis 15. And I want us to read that together this morning. But it says in Genesis 15 verse 1 to 3, "After these things, the word of the Lord came to Abram in a vision, saying, 'Do not be afraid, Abram. I am your shield, your exceedingly great reward.' But Abram said, 'Lord God, what will you give me, seeing I go childless, and the heir of my house is Eliezer of Damascus?' Then Abram said, 'Look, you have given me no offspring. Indeed, one born in my house is my heir.'" And what we're seeing in these scriptures is that Abram was looking fully in the natural. God was speaking to him saying, "Do not be afraid, I'm your exceedingly great reward." And his response was, "Lord, seeing I go childless, look how you have given me no offspring." And I love God's response. In Genesis 15 verse 4 to 6, it says, "And behold, the word of the Lord came to him saying, 'This one shall not be your heir, but one who will come from your own body shall be your heir.' Then he brought him outside and said, 'Look now toward heaven, and count the stars if you are able to number them.' And he said to him, 'So shall your descendants be.' And he, Abram, believed in the Lord, and he accounted it to him for righteousness." I love God's response. He says, "Look now toward heaven." He was taking Abram from the place of looking at everything in the natural, looking at everything with his physical eyes, to say, "Look, I want you to see things from my perspective. I want you to set your mind on things above. I want you to look up at heaven, for I see you with descendants as much as the stars." So the greatest reality for us as believers today is that heaven lives inside of us. In our spirit man, we can look within and see from his perspective, hear his word, and look unto heaven for our joy, for our source of everything that we need in life. And Christ is telling us, look from my perspective, see things the way I do. And that is how I believe we look with the eyes of faith towards our lives. And I believe that as we do this, we'll see the manifested promises of God come alive in our lives. So always remember, you are highly favored and deeply loved of God.